What if the most feared conqueror in history wasn't just a man of war, but a man of vision? Someone whose leadership secrets could still guide us today. Genghis Khan is often remembered for battles, blood, and conquest. But hidden beneath the dust of war lies something far more powerful. A blueprint for leadership that transformed a boy abandoned on the steppe into the master of the largest empire the world has ever seen. Imagine being 12 years old, betrayed by your own tribe, left to starve in the harsh winds of Mongolia. Most boys would have broken. Temüjin didn't. Instead, he forged resilience, vision, and discipline, the very traits that allowed him to unite scattered clans and command millions with unshakable loyalty. This isn't just history. These are lessons every man still needs today. Because leadership isn't about titles or armies. It's about vision in the face of fear, loyalty in the midst of betrayal, and courage when the path ahead is uncertain. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you will uncover 10 leadership secrets of Genghis Khan that can reshape the way you lead your own life, your family, and your destiny. Vision beyond survival. Great leaders are not defined by the world they inherit, but by the world they imagine. For young Temüjin, the world was cruel. After his father's death, his family was cast out, stripped of protection, and left to wander the barren steppe. Many believed his story would end there. Yet in those cold nights of hunger and fear, he began to dream, not of mere survival, but of a united people who could stand stronger together than apart. This vision became his compass. While others clung to survival, he looked beyond it. He saw possibility where others saw only hopelessness. That ability to hold a vision larger than himself became the seed of the Mongol Empire. Leaders today face different battles. Workplace pressures, personal struggles, uncertainty about the future. But the principle is the same. Without a vision beyond your immediate problems, you stay trapped in them. Temüjin's early vision wasn't about conquest, it was about unity. And that is where true leadership always begins. Ask yourself, what is the vision that pulls me forward, even when everything else pushes me down? So the first secret is clear. Leaders must imagine beyond the present moment. And this vision sets the stage for the next lesson, the power of loyalty. When we think of Genghis Khan, fear often comes to mind. Yet those who stood closest to him did not follow out of terror. They followed out of loyalty. And that loyalty was not demanded, it was earned. Temüjin understood something many leaders still forget. Loyalty grows where fairness lives. Unlike most rulers of his time, he didn't reward people simply because of noble birth or family ties. He rewarded men based on merit, on courage, skill, and trustworthiness. A shepherd could rise to become a general if he proved himself. Imagine the bond this created among his followers. Men who knew their worth would be seen, not ignored. That loyalty became his greatest weapon. Armies fight harder when they believe their leader stands for them. Teams, families, even friendships grow stronger when trust is built on fairness rather than favoritism. In your own life, ask, do people follow you because they fear losing something or because they trust you one to abandon them? Temüjin's empire was vast, but its foundation was simple. Loyalty before fear. And that is a timeless reminder that leadership is not about domination, but about devotion. Next, we'll see how Khan's true strength wasn't just loyalty. It was his ability to adapt when chaos struck. No empire is built without setbacks, and Genghis Khan knew defeat well. In his early campaigns, He often faced stronger enemies with better weapons and fortified cities his horsemen had never seen before. Many leaders would have broken under the weight of failure. But Temüjin had a gift. He treated chaos as a teacher. Instead of repeating mistakes, he learned from them. When his cavalry couldn't break through city walls, he didn't give up. He captured foreign engineers and absorbed their knowledge of siege warfare. When rival tribes surprised him with new tactics, he studied them, adapted, and turned those very tactics against his enemies. Each setback became fuel for evolution. That's why adaptability is the mark of a true leader. Life rarely unfolds as planned. Markets crash, relationships shift, unforeseen challenges strike. Like Temüjin, you can either resist change or use it to grow stronger. The chaos you face today may be the very thing that shapes tomorrow's victory. So the secret is clear. Adaptability turns defeat into progress. A rigid leader shatters when tested, but a flexible one transforms. And just as adaptability shaped Khan's destiny, another principle ensured his people's strength: discipline before glory. Many imagine Genghis Khan's empire as unstoppable chaos, wild horsemen sweeping across the steppe. The truth is the opposite. His success wasn't born from chaos, but from discipline. Temüjin knew that no vision, no loyalty, no adaptability could survive without order. To achieve this, he established the yasa, a code of laws that bound everyone, from the lowest soldier to the highest general. Stealing from fellow soldiers, breaking ranks, or ignoring commands was punished severely. Yet this discipline created freedom. His men no longer worried about betrayal within their own ranks. They could ride into battle knowing each man beside them was held to the same standard. In a world where most armies crumbled under greed and disunity, Khan's forces thrived because discipline became their backbone. And isn't life the same? Without personal discipline, dreams remain fragile. Success, whether in family, work, or personal growth, requires rules you hold yourself to, even when no one is watching. Temüjin's men didn't fight for glory alone. They fought within a disciplined system that made victory possible, and that's the lesson. Discipline isn't the enemy of freedom, it's the foundation of it. Next, we'll explore another secret of his leadership: the courage to empower even the weakest. Most rulers of his time relied only on nobles and bloodlines. Genghis Khan turned that idea upside down. He believed strength could come from anywhere, even from the weakest hands. His army was not just an elite of aristocrats. It was filled with men who once had nothing. Temüjin himself knew the pain of weakness. As a boy, he was abandoned, hunted, and treated as less than nothing. That memory never left him. So when he gained power, he gave the overlooked a chance to rise. A humble shepherd, a blacksmith's son, even a former enemy could earn rank if they proved their courage and loyalty. Some of his greatest generals started with nothing more than grit. This approach reshaped his empire. Men fought fiercely, not just for survival, but for a leader who believed in them. Empowerment became one of his greatest weapons. It created an unstoppable force of men who felt their value. The lesson for us is timeless. Leadership isn't about lifting only the strong. It's about raising up the ones who never believed they had a voice. Because when the overlooked find strength, they often become the most loyal and determined allies. And just as empowering the weak built unity, another secret amplified his power: mastering communication. Empires rise and fall on the flow of information. Genghis Khan understood this long before modern leaders wrote about it. His vision stretched across deserts, mountains, and oceans, but vision is useless if messages cannot travel. So he built one of history's first truly efficient communication networks, the YAM system. Picture it. Relay stations placed across thousands of miles, with fresh horses and riders ready at any moment. Messages that once took weeks could now travel in days. This meant Khan always knew what was happening in distant corners of his empire, and his generals could move with precision. Information was power, and he made it move faster than anyone else. But communication wasn't only about speed, it was also about clarity. His orders were simple, direct, and easy to follow. No confusion, no wasted words. That clarity kept millions of men aligned under one banner. In our lives, communication is still leadership's lifeline. Misunderstandings weaken teams, break families, and destroy trust. But when words are clear, consistent, and connected to a larger vision, people rally. Khan mastered the art of making every message count. And sometimes, leadership is exactly that. The courage to speak simply and the wisdom to keep the message moving. Next, we'll uncover another trait that defined him: fearless decision-making. Great leaders are often remembered not for the safe choices they made, but for the bold ones. Genghis Khan's life was marked by fearless decisions that defied logic yet reshaped history. One of his most daring moves was leading his army across the Gobi Desert, an unforgiving wasteland many believed impassable. Most rulers would have avoided such risk, but Temüjin understood that hesitation often costs more than action. He trusted his preparation, his men, and his vision, and his gamble opened the path to new victories. Fearless decision-making doesn't mean recklessness. Khan was deliberate, studying his options carefully, but when the time came, he committed fully. No wavering, no half-steps. His soldiers drew strength from his certainty. When their leader rode forward with conviction, they followed without question. In our own lives, we face deserts of uncertainty, career changes, personal risks, moments when the future feels dangerous and unclear. Fear whispers to delay, but leadership means making choices with courage, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Khan's lesson is this: hesitation breeds doubt, but decisive courage breeds momentum. The world doesn't wait for perfect timing. It responds to bold action. And yet, even with courage, no leader can succeed alone. The next secret reveals the strength found in delegation and trust. No matter how brilliant, no leader can carry the weight of an empire alone. Genghis Khan understood this deeply. His genius was not only in conquering, but in empowering others to conquer with him. He delegated authority to capable generals, men like Subotai, who became one of the greatest military minds in history. While Khan set the vision, his commanders executed it with remarkable independence, sometimes leading campaigns thousands of miles away without needing constant approval. This trust created an unstoppable system. Soldiers didn't fight for a distant ruler. They fought for leaders they knew personally, leaders Khan had lifted and trusted. And because those leaders were chosen for merit, not birth, they inspired loyalty in return. The empire expanded not through one man's hand, but through many hands working as one. In our lives, the same truth applies. Leadership isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about building trust strong enough to let go. Families thrive when responsibility is shared. Teams excel when each member feels empowered to act. Leaders who hoard control exhaust themselves. Leaders who delegate create legacies. Khan's empire stretched across continents because he trusted others to carry his vision. And that vision grew even stronger when he embraced unity from diversity, the next great secret. When tribes are divided, they are weak. Genghis Khan saw this truth clearly in the fragmented Mongolian steppe, where clans fought endlessly over pride and bloodlines. His genius was turning that division into unity. Instead of favoring only his own kin, he welcomed warriors, craftsmen, and advisors from across conquered lands, Turks, Persians, Chinese, and even former enemies. If they were loyal and capable, they belonged. This approach shocked his rivals. In an age where rulers clung to tribe and religion, Khan chose inclusion. He granted freedom of worship, respected different cultures, and built an empire where diversity was strength, not weakness. By doing so, he wove countless peoples into one fabric. The Mongol Empire became not only the largest in history, but also one of the most connected and dynamic. For us, the lesson is timeless. Families, teams, and communities thrive when differences are honored, not feared. Diversity brings new skills, new perspectives, and fresh strength. Division breeds weakness, but unity multiplies power. Khan's greatness lay not in crushing differences, but in harnessing them, and that is why his empire endured. Yet the final and perhaps most important secret of his leadership was this: he thought not only of his life, but of his legacy. Most leaders fight for their own moment of glory. Genghis Khan thought beyond his lifetime. He knew an empire built only on his strength would die with him. So he laid down structures to outlast his breath, laws, trade routes, and systems of governance that bound his vast territories together. The Silk Road, once dangerous and fractured, became safer under Mongol rule. Merchants, scholars, and travelers carried not only goods but also ideas across continents. He insisted that his sons and generals uphold the principles of merit and loyalty, ensuring the empire was not just his, but theirs to continue. His vision stretched far beyond conquests. He built a legacy of order, opportunity, and connection. Legacy thinking shifts how we live. It asks, what will remain after I am gone? Not everyone builds empires, but every man leaves behind something, whether it's the values instilled in children, the trust nurtured in relationships, or the example set for others to follow. Khan's lesson reminds us that leadership is not about being remembered for victories, but about shaping a future others can inherit. His empire eventually faded, but the systems and stories he created still echo today. And now, we arrive at the final part, the emotional payoff, where history meets your own life's call to lead. When we look back at the boy named Temüjin, abandoned, betrayed, and left to starve, it seems impossible that he would become Genghis Khan, master of the largest empire in history. Yet his journey was never just about conquest. It was about vision in hardship, loyalty in betrayal, discipline in chaos, courage in uncertainty, and legacy beyond a single lifetime. And here's the truth. His empire of land and soldiers has long vanished, but his lessons remain. The real empire he built wasn't measured in territory. It was measured in ideas that still speak to us today. Ideas that say you don't need perfect beginnings to create powerful outcomes. You don't need privilege to lead with strength, and you don't need certainty to step forward with courage. Leadership, as Genghis Khan showed, is not reserved for kings or warriors. It's for anyone willing to imagine a future, to lift others up, to act boldly, and to build something that outlives them. Your empire may not be made of armies or cities. It may be your family, your work, your values, or the impact you leave on the people around you. So ask yourself, What is the empire you are building today? If this story moved you, stay with me. In the next video, we'll explore another timeless figure whose wisdom can help you lead your life with clarity and courage. Because the journey of leadership doesn't end here. It begins every time you choose to step forward.